Hi, I'm Bruce Weinstein, and this is the YouTube channel Cooking with Bruce and Mark. And today we're doing a deep dig into bread and butter pickles. But I have a problem with store-bought bread and butter pickles. First of all, they're too sweet. And secondly, the ones you buy in the jar on the shelf that are shelf stable, they're too soft. I like bread and butter pickles that are very crunchy and that aren't quite so super candy sweet. So I'm going to show you how to make them with the perfect balance of sweet and vinegar and how to keep them super crunchy. So to start with, we need cucumbers. Pickling cucumbers. These are Kirby's. And why are these better than regular cucumbers? Because regular cucumbers have thicker skins and they also have big fatter seeds that aren't really good in pickles. These Kirby's are really grown for pickling because their seeds are sort of tender and they're not really obtrusive. So that's what we're going to do. And you want to slice them perfectly evenly to get the best pickle. Now you could do that by hand, or at this point I like to use a mandolin. And for the pickles, I'm going to use this little handheld mandolin because these are small vegetables and it'll be easier for me to deal with. Now, as always, when you're using a mandolin, use the guard that comes with it, or use one of these. This is my favorite tool in the kitchen. This is a cut-proof glove. This is a level 5 cut-proof glove. You can get it at most cookware stores or online. You put it on, I won't need the guard, and I won't cut my hand. So I'm going to set this mandolin to its biggest setting, which is 4 millimeters. And I'm going to take the cucumber, and I'm just going to run it over and let the slices fall into a bowl. Now, for this recipe, we're going to need 4 pounds of these Kirby pickling cucumbers. I'm just showing you how to do this with one. And there we go. So now, before we make the brine, the sweet brine with the spices that go onto these cucumbers, we have to salt them. We have to get the excess liquid out of them, and that salt and the getting rid of the liquid will help keep them crunchy as they soak in the refrigerator. So for the 4 pounds of sliced pickling cucumbers, you're going to take 3 tablespoons of kosher salt in a big bowl. You're going to toss them up and let them sit for 30 minutes. Then you're going to rinse them 3 times by filling the bowl with water, draining it into a colander, and repeating that 3 times. That's what I've already done here. Now, we have to make the sweet brine that goes onto these to be able to set them in the fridge and turn them into pickles. Now it's time to make the sweet sugar brine, the syrup that will go over the salted cucumbers. So I'm going to turn on the induction burner, and I have a pot. Into that pot, we're going to put 2 cups of plain white distilled vinegar, and we're going to put 1 cup of apple cider vinegar. We're going to put 2 cups of white sugar and a half a cup of light brown sugar. Now we're using a combination of vinegars for flavor. The apple cider vinegar will give us a depth of flavor that you just can't get using plain white vinegar alone. And if you look on the bottle of most jarred pickles, you're going to get only one kind of vinegar. Now the spices. We have to have spices. So we're putting in 3/4 of a teaspoon each of that's coriander seed, of red chili flakes, of celery seed, of turmeric. Now turmeric is a must-have in bread and butter pickles because the turmeric has sort of a bitter edge that will balance all of that sugar and keep the pickles from tasting a little too sweet. It'll also give a slight orange tint to the finished product. A lot of jarred pickles don't add that because pickle makers don't want you to buy pickles that have an orange tint to them, but that's what'll keep the sugar in balance and keep them from tasting too sweet. We're also going to put in about a dozen whole cloves and 2 teaspoons of brown mustard seeds. Brown mustard seeds are much spicier than the yellow ones, and that's why I like to use them. Now, we need to let this come to a simmer, and then we'll be ready to go. It took about 4 minutes with the induction burner, and it came to little bubbles, which was perfect. The sugar was completely dissolved, and yes, my glove is back on, because before we pour the brine over the cucumbers, we're going to add an onion. Now we're not really pickling the onion to eat it. The onion is in there as a flavoring ingredient. It flavors the cucumbers, it makes them even better. I'm going to use the mandolin again, but instead of setting it on 4 millimeters, I'm going a little thinner, and we're going to 2, because I want these onions to be really thin so that they'll just give off all of their flavor into this. Once again, with my cut-proof glove. Now, I want to just gently get these in here, nestle the onions down into the cucumbers so they're not all sitting on top. So now we're going to pour this over the cucumbers. You can see the volume of the brine was perfect for our 4 pounds of cucumbers. That it came just to the top. We could press the cucumbers down. We're now going to cover this with plastic wrap, and we're going to set this in the fridge for 48 hours. We are going to have the most delicious, crunchy, not too sweet, deeply flavored, complex bread and butter pickles. The ingredients for this recipe are right below me in the more information about this video on YouTube. Just click more and you'll see how to make these bread and butter pickles. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Cooking with Bruce and Mark, and watch all of our deep dig into videos. Today was bread and butter pickles. Soon we'll have all sorts of other delicious foods that we're going to take a deep dig into together.